And coming off the heels of our look at my custom Combiner Wars Liokaiser across several chapters, there was still one question remaining. What became of Dezarus, or Deathsaurus? I mean, in the Victory series, he was the leader of the Decepticons. In this box set, he was reduced to being a reuse of the Skylynx mold. Is there anything we can do to salvage him? Well, stick around because Dezarus, or Deathsaurus if you will, is going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, man. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors, NL, the Autobot family. Have a look for me everywhere across social media. And just to jazz it up a little bit, I'm going to say now, if you haven't already, please hit that notification bell, baby, because it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. And today our focus is going to be on the final member from the Liokaiser box set. I said that wrong. Liokaiser box set. Thank you, Input, for helping me to figure out exactly how to pronounce it. Liokaiser. Get it right, man. There was one member remaining, Dezarus, or Deathsaurus, the leader of the Decepticons from Victory. What was going to become of him? Because it was an iffy mold. We had this spaceship mode that the character didn't do. He did have a dragon mode, and really the robot mode of the Skylynx mold sort of embodies that dragon mode. But we were totally lacking a proper robot mode. What could we ever do? Well, you know what? Let's head over to the table and find out exactly what I did. And yes, in all of his lame glory, here we have Dezarus, better known to many people as Deathsaurus, the leader of the Decepticons during the Transformers, I believe, Victory series. He led the breast force that made up Liokaiser, along with other Decepticons, naturally. But he was not a part of that combiner. He did have two of his own, I guess, diminutive partners, that being Tiger Breast and Eagle Breast. This guy does not have those. He was also like a dragon that turned into a robot. Never a spaceship. Now, I get it. This is a reuse of the Skylynx mold from Combiner Wars. I looked at Skylynx way back in episode 88, and I said then that the paint was about a 9. It really looked like Skylynx. The articulation was about an 8 for what it was. I mean, Skylynx is kind of weird. And the transformation, I also said, was an 8. It was pretty good. This guy, however, is a different story. Right away, we're starting him off in a mode that is functional, yes. The way he came in a package, yes. And he does have two of these little, I don't know what you call them, sword pieces, just like Skylynx did. But it, you know, with, like, this is obviously a head. It's a functional shuttle, but like it never should have existed. That being said, the reason that this was chosen is because it can pull off the other alt mode, that being the dragon mode. Well, kinda, sorta. This is still a stylized dragon. Now, some people have tried to sort of rectify it a bit more by taking these and turning them around, and then usually those same people will turn these around so that they're more up by his face. I don't know if that succeeds any better, if I'm being honest. The articulation is the same as it was for Skylynx, with the head that can go up and down and left and right and straighten out and look around, and the jaw opens and closes, and these can go forward and back, and we do have like an elbowy type of thing. It can go out to the side. Legs can go forward, back, bend at the knee. Can't really go out to the side. It's just, it doesn't lend itself to it. So like it's fine. Like it's fine, but it's still not right. Now, some other people have tried to make this look a little bit more along the lines of G1 Deathsaurus' alt mode by getting him to stand up. Something like this. I don't know if this is any good. But like I guess it's an option. I mean, the arms still move, the head still moves. You do have limited legs this way for sure. I'm sure there are other things people have tried. Honestly, the closest thing that we've had to like a proper G1 alt mode for Deathsaurus would probably be the Titan's Return, Daburo and Twinferno or Double Cross. That alt mode is probably the closest thing to like a G1 Deathsaurus, if you're unfamiliar with the character. So this is not that. This is indicative of that, I guess. But then we couldn't really do the robot mode, and that was a shame for someone who is supposed to be like a leader of the Decepticons. It seemed wrong that he wasn't able to do a robot mode. And I wasn't leaving the guy as a part of Liokaiser. So what do we do with him? Well, he can still become a torso. I'm going to put him in that mode now. I'm not, again, going to show the transformation. It's easy. We've seen it before. But the torso does look like this. And in essence, this is the torso of Liokaiser, according to what we got in box anyway. And it's an alright torso, but it's definitely not Liokaiser. And if you've been kind of keeping track lately, I did a head swap. I took the head of Liokaiser and put it on the Power of the Prime's Inferno mold so that we could use that as a version, of course, of Jaguar to help form the torso of Liokaiser proper, but of course that meant I had a spare Defensor styled head, so what I did is attach that here. Now, it was not as simple as just changing the head out. In fact, this head at first had a ball joint on it, which naturally would not fit down inside of this collar piece. Why? Because at the bottom of that collar piece there is quite simply just a hole coming up that a screw comes up through to screw into the Liokaiser head, meaning it can go left and right but not up and down. What I had to do was shave down the ball joint so that it was pretty much cylindrical the whole way up and down, and then using a rotary tool I had to make a very small hole up through the center and put the screw back in that had been used for the Liokaiser head. In the end it worked fine, but this head did not fit inside of the body cavity to go to shuttle mode, so I did have to kind of shave down the earpieces. I could have smoothed them out more, but I'm not so concerned about it. Then I had the idea of, hey, maybe, just maybe, this could suffice as like Deathsaurus type of head. So I started to build on a little bit of a point in the front, reminiscent of his beak. Yes, that could be done better, but considering I had to sort of build it across, I said if I do it and paint it silver, it'll be fine. I couldn't build it very big, not as big as I would have liked, because again, it would not fit inside the body cavity for shuttle. So I built it out just a little bit more like a triangle than a beak, if I'm being fair. Then I sort of painted the crest gold to match the gold of the head of Deathsaurus, and I even put in a couple of little red details to mimic the eyes that are up there. And of course his visor was red already. I think if it wasn't red already, I've just painted the visor red. And the face was already silver, I do believe. So, like, the colors are correct, but it's not exactly functional. Not like this. So I thought about it and said, wait. Maybe in this iteration, he could lead in a more menacing fashion by kind of brainwashing or summoning other Decepticons that can function as limbs for him. And I thought about it and said, do I have any kind of spare limb Decepticons? And indeed I do. So now the robot mode for Deathsaurus isn't just a robot mode, but as a full-fledged combiner himself, man, made up of what I like to call the undesirables of the Decepticon ranks. That being Blackwing, or Darkwing if you will, as a leg, and Dreadwind as an arm up here, as well as the extra Stunticon, the one that was forgotten once Wild Rider returned to the group, that being Off-Road, and way on the far side, my Blastoff that I custom painted into a deluxe version of Whisper. I know we got the Micromaster Visper. I think that for my kind of headcanon, and in order to kind of allow this to exist, unless I come up with an idea to repaint him again, I think I'm going to say that this guy's Whisper and that Visper is like his little brother or something. I don't know. But nevertheless, now Deathsaurus has a full-on robot mode, and probably something more menacing than many people would think of for this guy, at least for now. Would it be nice to get a proper Deathsaurus update? Absolutely. But in terms of functionality and whatnot, this is okay. So, in terms of like paint apps and whatnot, I don't know, 5, I guess. Like, it is just vaguely Deathsaurus. Very, very, very vaguely. So, 5, I guess. In terms of transformation, it's all easy. I'm sticking with what I said for that Skylynx mold being an 8. I think the whole thing here is an 8. And in terms of articulation, we have arms that can move. Again, this shoulder piece likes to move with them, so you might have to hold on to that depending on your stance, so you can move them. Or maybe you're okay with them moving all the way. Like maybe you move that out of the way and you're cool with this. I don't know. But it can do that. The head can go left and right, not up and down. No waist, but the arms can go out. We still have the double elbow because of the legs or the knees, I should say, and the waist of the actual deluxe class Dreadwind. We have a wrist swivel because of the way that the hand plugs in. We have legs that can go well out to the side, or if they're higher up, well out to the side. I just lost a hand. We have a knee, and I lost a foot, which is surprising to me. Originally, I just had like a couple of the Combiner Wars hand, foot, gun pieces put there as feet, but what I discovered is the feet of I guess technically Orthea, the feet pieces that came with Elita 1 actually fit these two guys rather well. Like, they don't fit on Orthea well because they kind of just fall out, and even though this one just fell out, like, they're pretty solid on this guy. So he also has, I guess, ankle tilt and ankle rotation. Honestly, pretty well articulated. I'm going to say that that's about an 8. So in terms of a functional version for now of Deathsaurus, I would say that we have somewhere in the vicinity of about like a 7, maybe a 7.25. It's an okay Deathsaurus. But you know what? There's an argument now that could be made that him being in existence in this fashion actually gives him an unexpected purpose to his existence. Maybe, just maybe, the menace and specter of Deathsaurus hangs over all Decepticon combiners. Maybe, just maybe, he can now serve, since he's a combiner himself, as the ruler, the undisputed leader of all Decepticon combiners. Cool concept, granted, it is completely a fan idea of my own doing, and this certainly does not make up for the desire to have a proper Deathsaurus, but for now, I think at least it's an interesting way to have this guy stand in, and I suppose it's better to have some version of Deathsaurus than no version of Deathsaurus. Plus, come on, if I hadn't have done this, I really would have had absolutely no use for that entire Voyager class Dezarus. And that would be a shame if he just went cast to the wayside in a bin somewhere, or worse yet, in the landfill, never to be seen again. And here we are once again, and here is Deathsaurus, who has mind controlled. We'll say, why not? We'll say mind controlled. He's brainwashed and elicited the loyalty of 1, 2, 3, 4 extra Limbots that I had from the Decepticons. All of these guys kind of had no, they were characters, and it was great, but after getting Breakneck, or Wild Rider, I think he was called Breakneck, I didn't really have a use for Off-Road, and he's a fantastic limb and a fantastic character. Now there's a use for him. While Dreadwind and Darkwing, or Dreadwing, if you will, is a little bit of an iffy jet when they're both combined. They do make two great Decepticon additions, and since they can become limbs, why not have them under the guiding hand and tutelage of the powerful Dezarus, or Deathsaurus, if you will. And of course, we had a spare version of Blastoff, who I did paint into a custom Combiner Wars Whisper. And I know what some people are going to say, hey, we now have a Micromaster Whisper. I'm going to call that one Visper. I'm going to say that this guy here is Whisper, and like Visper is his brother. I don't know. Whatever, man. But the torso now is Deathsaurus, and I took the head of the Power of the Primes Inferno and changed it out with the Liokaiser head. And this one had a ball joint. Of course, I had to go shape. I already talked about it. We had to add pieces here, do a lot of cutting so that it kind of sort of fits. It's not absolutely perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but at least it gives this otherwise waste of a torso a purpose, and it gives a pretty imposing robot mode for Deathsaurus himself. Granted, he's, you know, would I be down for like an actual like leader class or something Deathsaurus? Absolutely. Would I then rename this into something made up? Maybe, why not? But for now, I think that this is going to stand as my iteration of Deathsaurus. And you know what? It actually functions pretty decently, or as decently as this ever functioned. I like it. I even managed to find a use for the Power of the Primes Alita 1 feet, because they don't really stay tabbed in or fit in on Orthea. I had to resort to other pieces for that, but they do stay tabbed in on these two guys. So now he also has, you know, funky looking feet that happen to have an ankle tilt. Gotta love it. Anyway, let me know what you think about this. I think it was at least creative and gave purpose to some otherwise you know, useless limbots. I don't know. It was an idea, man. It was an idea, and now I guess it gives me an extra Decepticon combiner. And you never know. Maybe he'll show up in Season 3 of Universal Collision. Spoiler. Anyway, let me know what you think about these guys. Thanks for dropping by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, please use the donate link down in the description. Of course, hit that subscribe button. It helps me out so very much. Don't forget, somehow, some way, each and every day you do make a difference, and I look forward, man, to the next time that you and I get together, either in the live streams, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, man, right here inside the videos.